pages on your client's website. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to be giving you a real example of a client that I just got for about $1,500. They paid me that for 3 different phases, phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1's almost done, and I can kind of go over that too as well if you want to see what I did there. And then phase 2 is what we're going to be looking at right now, and we're going to be talking about how to sort through the pages, what pages to look at first, why we're going to look at those pages. We're going to be talking about the template that you're going to use, all that kind of stuff. So let's just get into it. Let me minimize my video here. There we go. Okay, so first things first, checklist. Obviously, this is phase 1. In order to use the phase 2 part of the template, all you have to do is go to your Screaming Frog crawl. And you don't even necessarily need to download phase 2, the template. What you can do is you can actually just make it yourself. It's pretty easy to do. And it might actually help you understand a little bit better how this works just by sorting it yourself the first time at least. So the way I do it is I take the Screaming Frog crawl, which, you know, obviously all you do is you plug in the URL of the website you're auditing. You make sure to connect the Google Analytics to Google Search Console, press start, export, and then you take the export and put it into Screaming Frog. Are you guys clear on how to do that stuff so far?
So far on that, yes, I am. I don't know about Michael.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but obviously it can be intimidating if you're doing it like the first couple times. So you don't need to keep this internal HTML at the top. You can if you want, but I'd always delete that. So I don't know what this weird line is right here, but it's kind of making it look weird.
I think that means it's
yeah,
frozen.
it's frozen on the left, I guess. It's kind of odd. Let me try to unfreeze it just so it doesn't look whatever. It doesn't really matter. So so the point is what we're doing right here is we want to take all of this, we want to create a separate sheet. So we take the Screaming Frog crawl and we basically create a duplicate of the Screaming Frog crawl. And that's how you start out with phase 2. So you can rename this to phase 2 if you want, or you can have a completely different sheet for phase 2 if you'd like. Doesn't really matter. But the point is that what we're going to do is we're going to now create a few new columns. So what I like to do is I'll take like maybe a few rows like this. I move them to the right, insert 9 to the right. Doesn't matter if it's 8 or 9. You can insert more if it's not enough. And what we're doing here is we want to first of all figure out what the keyword is we want to rank this page for. We want to figure out what the data looks like for that. So like the clicks, the impressions, the click-through rate, and the average position. So this is all stuff. I don't know if you've recognized these 4 right here, but these are all things that you're going to find in Search Console. And then you could put a few other things in here as well, like what the conversion rate looks like and the bounce rate, stuff that you're going to be able to pull from Google Analytics. Now, if you have Google Analytics set up, all you have to do is scroll to the right, and eventually you will be able to see that information here. Now, unfortunately, with this client, they didn't have Google Analytics yet, so I had to set that up for them. So all of this is sort of data I'm not going to be able to see. However, I will be able to show you how to do this with my own website where I already have it set up. So let me go into my other Drive folder, try to find it. And let's see if I can find my own website. And I may actually have to go into Basecamp for this. A little bit easier to organize things with Basecamp. Here it is. Now this might be an older audit, but it should still look fairly similar. So Looks like that one wasn't done there. I haven't really looked through this in a while. This was when I was doing the more agency stuff, and kind of stopped doing that as much. So here we go. So this is all my Screaming Frog crawl. Here's the foundational audit. A lot of that stuff got implemented. And as you can see, we don't have phase 2 set up. So what I would do is, again, I would duplicate this. I'm going to take all of this over here, move it to the right. Whoops. Zoom out a little bit just so I can see it a little bit better. There we go. So same thing, I'm going to look for the query or keyword. You can call it whatever you want. Clicks, impressions, click-through rate, average position. And the reason why we're putting all this together right here is because we want to get sort of an overview of, you know, how the keyword is based on how the page is doing as well. So like that's why it's important to look at the clicks, the average position for the keyword, the bounce rate for the page, the conversion rate. You can even put the page response time. You can pull that from Screaming Frog as well. If you hook up Ahrefs, you can also pull the site or the page UR. I was thinking about actually changing one of the beginner tutorials for Screaming Frog so that I can show you guys how to set up Ahrefs, but that's irrelevant for the moment. But we'll just do like the main ones right now so you can see. So again, we have the URL, query, clicks, impressions, click-through rate, average position, bounce rate, conversion rates, whatever. Now we're going to view freeze this top row so when we go and filter our data, this doesn't move. And what we want to do is we want to scroll all the way over to the right and we want to take the current clicks. We want to filter by the current clicks. So now we have all of the highest basically clicked pages sorted by, right? Now, when you're working on a website that already has data and it can already tell you what pages have the most traffic, it makes it kind of easier for you to identify which pages you should probably work on first. Because generally the pages that have higher traffic usually have like easier things that you can do to fix, like make them rank higher. And the reason why I say that is if we go and see that this page, the second page that's receiving the most traffic, if we go and see the keyword it's ranking for is an average position, let's say 5, and the click-through rate's at like 1%, well then we know to change the title tag and meta description to try to increase the click-through rate, or try to add some schema markup to make the result more relevant on Google. Or if we see all of this is good, but the conversion rate's really low, then we know to like try to go change the call to action, right? Also, when we go into Benchmarketer, the tool we use, we can take the keyword and the URL and then see if it's meeting all of its averages. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So let's go into Search Console so we can start looking at some of the keywords. Is this making sense so far? Am I going too fast or too slow?
Yeah, that makes sense so far. Good.
Okay.
Keep going.
So we'll go into Search Console. We'll go into our website. Try to find the rank and rent page. So there it is. And we can easily filter. We can just grab it, go to the top, press page, filter by the page, press apply, and now we have it. If there's a lot of pages and you can't find it, but here you can see it's already here, it's already sorted. So we click on that, we go to queries, and now we can see where most of the traffic is coming from based on clicks. Now, generally what you want to do is you want to go for keywords that correlate with your page's value. And that's why, you know, it is sometimes a good idea to figure out all of the URs for these pages. If you wanted to do that, one of the quickest ways besides hooking this up to Screaming Frog in the API is just to go to your Ahrefs, go look at the batch analysis tool, plug in all your URLs, and I meant to put the exact URL. And what this will do is it'll show you, I have to wait now because I didn't do it. This will show you all the URs of the pages. And then what you can do is you can look at all of these keywords here, and you can go to bulk keyword explorer, or bulk whatever it's called. I think it's bulk. What is it called? Bulk keyword analysis. And you can look up all these keywords at once. Gosh darn it, I hate how here we go. And you can see what these keywords are in terms of how competitive they are. So I could grab all these, boom, plug them in, search. And then for the URs, wherever that page just went, I guess I lost it. Batch analysis, plug in all of the pages, or just the page you're looking at. Let's say it was just the, gosh darn, I forgot to do the exact URL again. And so all of these are really low keyword difficulty either way. So like there wouldn't really be a point in not targeting the most difficult keyword because it's all, one keyword difficulty either way. So what I would do is I'd probably just pick one of these. Let's say it was this one, and I would pull all the stats for it. So you can see here, rank and rent is the keyword, clicks 158, impressions, click-through rate 10%. And I like to go for more current data usually, so I'll either go by 7 days or 28 days because that's usually more accurate data. So let's just go by 28 days. So average position is actually one less on that versus the 3-month mark. So here we go. Here's the last 28 days, 45 clicks with that keyword, 442 impressions, 10% click-through rate, average position 4. And basically you just put that in there. And now we have an idea. So with the clicks, you can see that's under the average we set. So it's red. Impressions, it looks like the conditional formatting isn't pulling into this right now. But okay. Sorry. It's because you have to actually use the phase 2 template if you want the pre-built conditional formatting. Otherwise, you can just put it in here yourself. The reason why it's better to do it yourself is because 45 clicks for your site might be really good versus for like my site where I consider it bad. Or a 3% click-through rate might be really good for you versus me where I might consider it really bad. So average position 4, you can see the click-through rate's pretty high for that keyword. So I probably don't need to try to do anything to improve that. Let's check out the bounce rate and the conversion rate. So we'll go over to the right. Here's all the bounce rates. We'll just copy that row and plug it in here. And then let's go find all the conversion rates. Now my conversion rate that's specified for this page is a little bit different than you'd probably have yours. So mine is like email opt-ins, where yours might be like, contact form submits. Now this is actually different because this is an older crawl. This is a screening fraud crawl from a while ago. But if the conversion rate was like 0.64% for the page, then I would obviously want to try to figure out how to improve the conversion rate. And actually this might be accurate because if I look at the page, I think the call to action to get an email opt-in might have been taken off, which yes, it has. So that's a big problem because if there are 45 clicks just for that keyword alone, you look at all the keywords, 273 clicks in the last 28 days to this page, and I'm getting a 0% conversion rate from that, then that's, I could have potentially 5%, 10%, whatever it is, of that traffic into an email list, which is going to be, people are going to be more likely to convert into a customer. So that's a problem. In terms of the bounce rate, you can see it's 80%, which is pretty high. So they're dropping off pretty quickly. That means they're going to the page and only 20% of them are staying around and reading it. So I'd also want to try to figure out how I could lower that bounce rate. And that might correlate with certain things like, if you're looking at your bounce rate and you see, well, there's a really high page speed, which you can pull through Screaming Frog. I don't know how accurate that is based on what they show you. But if we look at the Screaming Frog response time, you can see it's a 0.09. And I think that's actually just the server response. So we could just pull this into GT metrics, plug the page in. And while we're doing that, we can look at a few other things. So we could look and see if the crawl depth, if it takes, if this was like 5 pages down, that would be a problem because that takes 5 clicks in order for people to get to it, which means it's going to have a lower relevancy to Google. We could see that the word count's low. This is going to be helpful once we start seeing the correlation data, which we'll look at right now. So we're going to copy this keyword, plug it in here, and then we're going to grab the URL and plug it in there. I'll just use my local SERP. I'm not going to go select any city, and I'll press go. So it's starting to crawl all the websites ranking for this keyword. And then it's going to spit out, you know, and tell me what I need to do in order to rank higher. So this is a little bit manual here. Obviously, you know, if you're going to be doing this for like 100 pages, that's really kind of annoying. But the point is that if you're going to be ranking these pages, you're going to want to know what to rank for them anyways. Like if you were going to go and optimize this page, you would want to know what it's supposed to rank for anyways. So you'd probably go in Search Console and see what it's currently ranking for. There is a quicker way to get all this data. It's a little bit more complicated to do, and you have to do it through Ahrefs by going by the top pages for a website. So instead of you going and doing it all like how I'm showing you right now, you'd go into here, you'd look at the top pages, see the keywords that Ahrefs basically thinks the page should rank for, export all that data, plug it directly into here, sort all the URLs, all that kind of stuff. Again, not super necessary because again, you're going to be probably doing this for like 10 to 20 pages at a time. If you're going to be going down to like 100 pages down, and there's only like 20 clicks on the pages or like 10 clicks, 5 clicks, that's when the SEO becomes a little bit less important. And it's more important for you to move into phase 3 and figure out what the ongoing content plan is going to look like. And if those pages underneath kind of fall into that content plan, which we'll talk about more in phase 3. So let's focus on phase 2, not make things too confusing. So here we go. We have a bunch of data. We got Seo Audit Checklist next. I'll just give you another way to show you how to do this. Actually, Andrea, can you tell me how I would get the benchmark for this page right here?
Okay. Grab the, wait, okay, so we're trying to compare that, so you grab that URL and, I'm not sure.
Okay, can you just explain to me, like, really quickly what the point of all of this is right here?
That you can compare it to, and just see your growth, right?
Compare it to what?
The click-through rates and all of those columns that you have, you want to be able to
right.
Compare and see the growth.
Right, but more specifically, when we're wanting to rank a page, we want to know what to rank the page for, right?
Yes, the query. So you want to.
Hold on. Let me just break this down really quick. So, what do you do if somebody doesn't have a website? Do you do phase 1 for them?
Yes.
How if they don't have a website? What are you going to audit?
Well, create the website.
So that would be more like phase 0, create website, right? So what is phase 1?
Phase 1 is the all of the foundation.
But more specifically, site-wide SEO audit, right? So you're auditing the entire website, like all the site-wide SEO issues, like page speed, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 2 is seeing if there's any existing data on the website to optimize. And then you benchmark that data, and then you try to basically optimize off of it. If the website you're working with, like let's say it's a local website and they have no SEO done on their website, like that one I was showing you, and they're like just dead in the water, there's like literally no data, they don't even have Google Analytics set up, you're not going to be able to get any of this data. You're not going to be able to know what the pages are ranking for, you're not going to be able to know the clicks, any of that stuff. So what you would do is you'd basically skip phase 2 and you would go straight to phase 3, which is figuring out the keywords that you need to target and the content you need to build. Now, phase 3 is very similar to phase 2 because you're going to still have your URLs here, but you're going to be specifying the keywords that you want to rank for those URLs based on your keyword research, but you're not going to have any of this data. So when you're doing phase 2, basically you're checking and seeing, okay, does this site have data or not that I can optimize? If it does, then the way you grab that data is you take the top pages that are ranking or the top pages that are receiving the most traffic, and you see if there's any quick adjustments you can make to make them rank higher. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the way we grab this information about this URL right here, because we've never, let's say we've never seen chaserunner.com/products/SEO audit checklist template. So we're not going to have any idea what to rank this page for. Like, we're going to want to optimize it. Let's say, hey, Chase, I want to optimize phase 2 for you, but I don't know what to optimize about this page. Well, here's how we find it out. We grab the URL, go to Search Console, see if there's any data for this page by going to Pages and then finding the page. There it is, SEO Audit Checklist. We're going to look at the keywords that it's showing up for. Oh, here they all are. SEO Roadmap Template, SEO Audit Template. So these are all the things that it's showing up for. We can download this if we want to look at the, how competitive the page is. So we can grab all these keywords, copy them, plug them into our keyword explorer, search. And here we go. We can see the most competitive keyword is SEO Audit Checklist with 250 searches per month at a keyword difficulty of 41. A less competitive keyword is SEO Audit Template at a volume of 150, but a lot more doable. Now the question is, which one do we want to do, the 34 or the 41? Now again, the way we usually do this is by checking out our URLs, seeing how much authority they have. So if we go and see, now I did it the right way, exact URLs. If we go and see SEO Audit Checklist Template, you can see the UR is at 16. So it's going to be kind of hard for it to even rank for this, because the 34, that's like almost 20 more than the UR we're currently at. Now, obviously there's things we could do to try to rank it higher, which is going to be part of phase 2. But I mean, in terms of building more authority to the page, but overall, we probably want to go for the lower one because this one's going to be more competitive. And if we look at our Search Console, we probably have more clicks for this keyword than this keyword because we're closer to this keyword. So let's go see. So it was SEO Audit Template, and SEO Audit Template, you can see we have more clicks for, higher average position. So it does correlate pretty well. So that being said, you can also see SEO Roadmap templates getting pulled, but for some reason Ahrefs isn't showing us any data for that. I don't know why, but it isn't. So you can see here we're in average position 3 for SEO Roadmap template. Let's go check on Google if that's true. No, that's not true. We're actually number 1. It's just an image search that's number 3. So we probably don't want to keep going for that because we're already ranking number 1. So we want to go for this one, SEO Audit Template. So the way we do it is we take all the data, here it is, boom, and we plug it in here. Okay, so we got the keyword, the clicks, the impressions, the click-through rate. Now you can see the click-through rate for this is pretty low. It's a 0.90% click-through rate. Now if we check out the page, let's see if SEO Audit Template is in the title tag. And it's not. It says SEO Audit Checklist Template. So just simply by changing that keyword in the title, we'll probably have a higher click-through rate for this page, which will hopefully also improve the conversion rate and the bounce rate and everything else. As far as meeting the averages goes, we'd have to go in benchmarker. So let's look at the scan we got from the Rank and Rent guide. So we'll go to click here for analysis since it's finally done scanning. We'll press export detailed results to Excel. This tells us where it got exported to. So I'll just do a quick search and rent 429. And maybe I gotta do, hold on, let me just go like this. Open file location. Exports. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing this. Maybe I have to press OK. I might have 2 folders with this in it. I have to see. Shoot, I just re-downloaded this. I don't know what the issue is. Okay, well, I got to figure that out. But basically what we're going to be able to see is we're going to be able to see this on a spreadsheet, basically. And this is going to tell us all of the averages. So you can see here, our web page has 7,000 words, 240 images, 0 videos, so on and so on. And then these are all the averages for Google. So you can see the average images is at 59. The average word count is at 3,000. So, you know, we're way over that average. And so on and so on. So we're good in terms of the averages for you know, content, but in terms of the authority, we aren't. So and that's because if we look at the keyword, right, we look and see that the keyword is you know, 1 or whatever it is. If we're not hitting that average, then we're probably not going to be able to rank for it. And so some of the ways that we can increase the authority is obviously by doing link building externally, but one of the ways I really like to do it is doing internal link building to the pages as well. And going and doing as many internal links as I can from other relevant pages, because that will actually increase the page authority of the page itself. So that's some of the big things. Also, it might actually be that the page is over optimized, because this page was ranking higher for those keywords before I went way over on the words. I think I have to check, but I think it was at like, it was only like 1,000 word page, and then I put like 6,000 words on it and wound up ranking lower. So I think sometimes it's actually, if you have a higher bounce rate because you add more words to the page, it actually is a worse signal to Google than having a just a more usable page that people just are easily able to use without needing to read the entire thing. So having more content isn't always a good thing. So that's like the basics to the phase 2 stuff. Again, what you're doing is you're not just only looking at the analytics side of things. You want to look at a real standpoint of what other people are doing. So if we go and see that, you know, this checklist template is doing pretty much everything that everybody else is doing, like, you know, we have whatever, you know, comparison tables, if that's what people are doing, we have reviews on here if that's what people are doing, that kind of thing, then generally what you need to do is try to increase the authority of the page. But if you're not doing all that stuff, like if I look up Seo Audit Checklist and I see what shows up, and I see that, you know, there's like a list in here, like of like a table of contents, that kind of thing, and I don't have that, or if there's in here certain things that are being explained that I'm not explaining, or if it's just, you know, there's a bunch of comments on the page. The point is that you want to try to replicate to a T as much as possible what some of the top pages are doing that are ranking, because generally you're going to be able to get better rankings just by simply replicating what other people are doing. And you can see here as well, you know, this is another same exact thing, table of contents at the top with links going to the different sections. And what's the difference between their site and my site is that I don't have this, and the top people who are ranking do. So again, some of it is analytics based, which is why it's important to look at this stuff, but it's also intent based, and it's important to look at and see what is working for other people, and not just only doing your optimizations based off like a percentage or something like that. You want to actually see what real people want. And then the third step after that is, you know, obviously after optimizing everything as much as you can, you then want to go into phase 3, figure out what, you know, topically you want to rank for long term. Like if you're going to go for Seo Audit template and stuff around that, you want to rank really well for that, then you're probably going to want to create clusters of content around, you know, if you're ranking for Seo Audit template, figure out what other keywords would be good to rank for around that. You can use that keyword explorer and see, also rank for, and get an idea of all the different things that people are ranking for around this. Try to create a content strategy around that, and we'll talk about that in phase 3. And then in phase 4, create a game plan on how you're going to become an authority in offering those things, by creating relationships with people, by building authority through building an audience, that kind of thing. So does phase 2 make a little bit of sense to you guys, hopefully?
Yes, but I just realized I need phase 3, not phase 2 now, because I don't have enough pages on there
Yeah.
To look at. So, and I think you may have told me to do that before.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get confused about phase 2 because they don't have websites that they can do phase 2 on.
Yes, correct.
So again, if you don't have a website that will give you this data in order to optimize off of, or if the website has this data but there's only like 5 clicks on one page, which is the home page, then there's not really anything you're going to be able to do phase 2 on, because there's no data. There's like nothing. Like, you're not going to have any UR to the page. All the keywords you're going to be targeting are going to be outside your range. Like, everything, I mean, you're not even going to really have any data around you might have some around your bounce rates. You'll barely have any around your conversion rates. So it's almost pointless to do phase 2. You want to go straight into phase 3 and start trying to build out the pages that you want to rank for, figure out the keywords that they need to rank for, and then you go into phase 4, which is building the authority for those pages. And then like a month or two later, then you go back to phase 2 and you go, okay, how do we re-optimize these pages based on how they're currently doing now? The reason why phase 2 is because generally when you work with a new company, they should theoretically have analytics and Search Console data for their website. And the quickest way to show them progress is to do phase 1 and then phase 2 for them, and then 3 and 4. But for people who are new and getting new clients and they don't have any clients, and you're getting like, these businesses that don't have any SEO done on them, then you just go from phase 1 to phase 3 to 4 back to 2.
That makes sense. I think I need to do then also to get some authority building done for them, some link building.
Well, it doesn't even just have to be link building. It can also be like social signal generation. You can do email generation. You can do a bunch of stuff that will lead to bringing more authority and links and that kind of thing to the pages. I'm not an advocate of doing like direct link building. I think it's sort of lame. There's a lot of other ways to provide value to a business in order to increase their authority without needing to just go and manually ask people for links, which is what we're going to be talking about in phase 4.
Have you put any videos up for that? Or
no, I was going to do that. I was going to do that today. The reason why I did phase 2 instead is because I wanted to like recap and make sure that everybody sort of got it. And I think I'm just going to switch this video out for the current phase 2 videos because I think this one's probably a little bit better. Did this one make more sense than the other ones?
Yeah. Well, I think it did make sense. I think I need to jump in there and kind of and just start playing around a little bit. I just need a bigger website to.
Well, you're welcome to optimize mine. I don't have a problem against that.
I'm trying to drop all of your click-through rates. So
I don't care. My whole website's just an experiment. I honestly don't care. I've had months where I was bringing in so much traffic, and then months where I just wasn't because I just completely gave up on everything. Even now the traffic's dropping because I just haven't been working on it. So.
Yeah, I think I just need to tackle that. So I like the video, and I'll have questions when I dive into this with the actual website.
Okay. Michael, do you have any questions about what we talked about today?
Well, there was some problems with the microphone and stuff, so I didn't catch on from the beginning. But for now, I don't have any questions because I wasn't with you from the start. So um, yeah,
Okay, did it sort of make sense though what we talked about today?
yeah, I did. I just wanted to catch on from the beginning and make some notes and so on while you went through this. But yeah, I guess I have to watch the video again and do it from there.
Okay. Well, definitely let me know if you have any questions. I think this time I was able to explain phase two a little bit better than what's already been in the videos. So,
I think what would be helpful also is to maybe just you're skimming through it all and teaching it, but um, I think when you actually start working on a site and just go through like just 10 of them at a time or whatever, however long it takes you to actually.
yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm also going to upload videos of me doing this for an actual client, and it'll just be like music in the background, like, and I'll be like sort of explaining what I'm doing as I go. But that way you guys can watch also like when I'm doing it live. So like, because right now, you watch it like a couple times, you kind of get it, but then I'll have like a couple hour long video. You can just watch me like doing it repetitively for like 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah, slap that up in the Discord or the Teachable.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. And I already have the first one, so if you want to see the phase one implementations done, I just did a video on that.
So,
So that's it for today. I'm gonna keep you guys posted on the phase four stuff as well. I'm actually gonna go travel a couple cities away right now to meet somebody who's a programmer. We're gonna try to make some robots to do some phase four automation stuff for clients and whatnot.
so fancy.
Yeah. What were you saying, Michael?
Yeah, yeah, sounds interesting. Um, I was wondering, is it that something you work on since you did this video about um, um, the LinkedIn video?
Oh, yeah. So that's part of what I'm working on. Like the LinkedIn video is something that is like a small sort of experimentation. But what I'm going to be trying to do is create a robot that is able to interact with people on like 3 or 4 different platforms at once, and be able to set up like a system where if somebody opts in with an email, you can find all their information on social media platforms and be able to interact with them, and then basically funnel them into a lead on like the 5th or 6th day, which is going to turn into like a Seo audit or something.
Very nice.
Very nice. So, and then obviously if the software gets developed, everybody in the certification is going to get it for free.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes,
Very
sir.
nice.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. Hopefully we'll be seeing you guys very soon.
Can you just, if you have time, think through a plan about, I'm not sure if this is a very easy question, but I had a customer that wanted to go through the blogs, old blogs, and see what's relevant and what he can do about it. Is there any strategy about this issue?
Yeah. So this was something that I've done for a bed review website I used to have. You need to figure out what of the content is ranking and which of it isn't. And the way you can do that is filter based on the clicks that the pages have, kind of like how we're doing right now in phase two. And you would just filter by anything that has the word blog in the URL, unless they don't have it categorized that way. Then you would just try to find all the pages that are blogs, and then just copy all of those, and then look through them manually, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, find the ones that are ranking well, and then the ones that aren't ranking at all, and see if there's any sort of keyword overlap or duplicate content overlap. And the best way to look at that is put the pages through SiteLiner. You run the whole site through SiteLiner and see if those pages are any duplicate content or if the content's unique or whatever. If the content's unique to the pages and there's just no traffic to them, you can go in and try to re-optimize them. Sometimes it's better to just, again, work on the pages that are actually receiving traffic first, because those ones are generally things that you can end up fixing by optimizing, versus, pages that just aren't working at all. And you might need to come up with a better targeting strategy around what you want to rank. It kind of depends on, what you'd like to do. I like to think about it this way. If I have my own website, chaserunner.com, and I invested, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000 in content and only 1/10 of its ranking, is it worth it for me to go back through the other, 90% of that content and then go try to optimize it? Or should I go into phase 3, which is now figuring out, okay, I only want to focus my content around a certain subject and then try to rank for that subject, rather than just try to rank all these old pages that don't really have anything to do with the new direction I want to go in. So again, that's why phase 3 is really important, because after you optimize the top 10 or 20 pages on the website for phase 2, then you go and see, okay, what is the main theme I want to optimize for this website? And then you can just see if those pages that you're trying to rank are a part of that game plan.
All right. Part of the question I got was if there are blog posts that are not any thin or thin content in this blog, should we delete it? Should we get rid of those, or should we optimize them and maybe repost them with a bigger content?
It depends on the theme that you're going for. So if all of those articles are within the keyword group that you want to target, then I would say try to keep them around and re-optimize them. But again, I don't know if you're in phase 3 yet, so if you're not, I would watch that first and then try to figure out what sort of content you want to be targeting around.
No, I just wanted to know how you would do it. No, I'm not at phase 3 yet. So.
Yeah, so phase 3 again would be figuring out what direction you want to get the website to go in, in terms of its content, and then at that point, I would say you could start figuring out whether or not certain pages are worth keeping or not.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chase, I'm gonna tackle all your videos this week, and then if I still need help.
Yeah, you got my number. You guys are. I told you from the start. You guys can call me anytime. So.
I always harass you on Facebook, but you didn't answer me on that.
Facebook is the worst place to contact me. I have literally given you guys my cell phone number, so I would. If you want me to contact you, send me a text.
I wanted you to watch that video, but I don't even remember what. I had a video question for you, and I don't even remember what it is anymore. But I'm gonna first watch I'm gonna try to implement some of those things first.
Okay.
You, and then if not, I will contact you. Okay.
Sounds good.
Text me your number, and I'll call you back if I need something.
Okay, I'll send it over after this.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, have a good one. Thanks.
All right, bye. Well, that's it for today. Thank you guys for joining. If you'd like to join the certification, just chaserunner.com. That's all you got to do. I'm taking 2 people a month in, so if you're wondering about whether you should join or not, one of those spots is already filled this month, so we got one more spot open. Mainly because I have to do so much of this personal type stuff where I have to teach people, I have to cater sort of what I'm doing to the people who are joining, because the newer people need more help. But I don't think there's many people who haven't made back more money than they have spent on the certification. I think there was like one person who wound up leaving because the tutorials were too complicated for him. But I looked through the platform that I teach on, and I saw that he only watched 50% of the videos, so he kind of gave up before he finished. So other than that, that's it, guys. Thank you guys all very much for joining, and until I see y'all next time, happy SEOing.